Dear students, I welcome you all for the lecture number 22, Solar Photovoltaic Fundamentals, Technologies and Application. In this module, we have been seeing about what is maximum power point tracking, how does this maximum power point tracking will happen, and why this maximum power point tracking is required. All those details we have been thoroughly seeing about this in this module 3. So, in this particular lecture, we are going to see about perturb observe algorithm. How we are going to operate at a particular point of time, where your MPP is laid in your IV and PV characteristics. I request all of you to have a short brush up on the earlier classes so that it is more comfortable for you to understand the today's lectures based on previous experiences. Now let us go into the lecture of today's topic, perturb and observe method for maximum power point tracking. Yes, it is my responsibility to brush up the topics what we have discussed. We know that why maximum power point tracking is required, but then I will explain it now why this maximum power point tracking is required. As you know that PV can operate, PV produces a characteristic something like this, IV characteristic something like this. Here you have a open circuit point and here you have a short circuit point. So when you have these 2 points, as we have already discussed, when it operates at this point, your current seems to be maximum. This is your current axis. Your current seems to be maximum, whereas your voltage seems to be 0. When you operate at this particular point, your voltage seems to be maximum, and whereas your current seems to be 0. So when you try to each point is like it can operate at this point, it can operate at this point, it can operate this point, as if like in a motorbike you can go at 20 km per hour, 40 km per hour, 50 km per hour, and 90 km per hour also. But at to reach the destination faster, you have to go to reach the destination faster. You have to go at the maximum greater speed so that your destination can be arrived faster. Similarly, you have to utilize the maximum characteristics that can be availed only here, because when you take this particular point, your voltage, though it seemed to be higher, here if you take this point, the voltage is higher, but what about current is minimal. So it is always in this non-linear characteristics, it is always required to operate your PV at an optimal power point at this particular point we call. So depending to the load, you can operate at this point or this point or this point, any point you can operate depending to the load requirement. But your PV is set to operate at maximum power point only when you operate at this particular voltage is also maximum, current is also maximum. That particular point is what you call it as maximum power point. So when you are not operating in maximum power point, yes, you have a limited lifespan. This is a non-linear characteristics. So, but when you try to operate in maximum power point, you have a highest payback returns, highest income returns. So these are all the advantages of operating PV at maximum power point tracking, as we have discussed. This particular this one also we have discussed in the last class, but to make you understand, I wanted you to explain it again. Let me take the scenarios A, B and C. When you take the condition of A, all PV modules are uniform radiation, so there is nothing to do with the bypass diode. So you directly comes, the characteristics now becomes like this. Curve 1 corresponding to A, curve 1 corresponding to A. So now there is nothing needed. The curve is very much non-linear. There is only one operating point that you know that this is going to be your MPP. So you have to do it, and you have to make the PV to operate at MPP. Similarly, let us take the case 2. Let us take the curve 3. Curve 3 in the sense, what I am trying to make is, I am shading one module, PV module here. This PV3 module 3 is shaded, and the other 2 modules remains at common position. So what happens is like the influence on the shaded PV, you know the fundamental rule of electrical engineering is, in a row or in a particular line there will be only one current. So this is a single loop. In this particular loop, all 3 are connected in single line, plus minus plus in series connection. So there should be only one current. Let me say this PV module 2 and PV module 1 can produce a current of 10 ampere. Because of shading, module 3 can produce 5 ampere. So what happens now is actually PV module 2 and PV module 1 are supposed to take only 5 ampere current, though it is not shaded. I repeat, PV module 2 and PV module 1, though it has ability to produce 10 ampere, it is now restricted to go only 5 ampere because the other module is shaded. PV module 3 is shaded. So what happens now is actually only 5 ampere. So it is restricted here. You can see I have set an example of 5 ampere, 10 ampere, but here it is going to be 0.7, I suppose. So it is restricted to this characteristics. To avoid this, what we are going to do is we are going to connect a bypass diode. So this bypass diode concept we have already explained in the previous lectures. As you see that this two module, if you are using these three modules, if you are using in shaded condition, what will happen is PV module receiving lower irradiation or difference in irradiation condition will tend to produce a reverse voltage, plus and minus. This reverse voltage will make the diode forward biased, and only if these two are in operation, what will happen is, of course, PV module 2, PV module 1 are in operation, in the sense 40 volt can be taken. For example, 20 volt, 20 plus 20. If this PV module 3 is all three of them is in operation, which means that the load is demanding very less current, so you can operate at this particular point. If you need full current 10 ampere, you can operate at this point. If you need but the voltage is limited to 40 because only two modules will be there. But if you need, since one module is shaded, this is the shaded line, so one module voltage will alone be present. So this is how it works. This is how the bypass diode concepts works. So in this case, you know that multiple peaks are happening. Steps are also in IV characteristics. Here you can see the steps in IV characteristics. In uniform you have only one step, but in your partial shade case you have two steps. Here you have two peaks, of which the line corresponding to your blue color have global power. The line corresponding to your red line has less power. I call it as local power. Green color line in the PV characteristic shows it is limited. Why? Because the influence on shaded module is now interrogated to your module 1 and 2, because of which your current is limited. Since current is limited, the power is also limited, though the characteristics is very much non-linear, and it is only one peak case, but then the amount of power availability taken from the module is very less. So that is why we are always preferring the PV modules to be connected in bypass diode. The necessity of bypass diode is also explained now, so that you can go ahead or go through with the required formats and diagrams. Now we will see effects. Yes, of course, you have seen it's very much obvious that you have reduction in power output, that is number 1. Multiple peaks in PV characteristics, number 2. Shift in location of global peak, yes, that is also true. This is let me take this consider case. You have MPP2, this is local peak. MPP1, this is going to be my global peak. This one is your global peak. This one is going to be a local peak. This is the condition that we have. This is the condition that we have. So three particular effects that we have: reduction in power output, multiple peaks, and your shifting global peak. The peaks are corresponding to two variations in the characteristics, as I have told you. 700 in the last row, the remaining this is 1000 watt per meter square. Now in this characteristics, if you see, you have 900 watt per meter square, 900 watt as the maximum power here. Here you have 810 watts, which means there is a mismatch loss of 90 watts. Mismatch loss is there, so it is going to be huge. Though you have all the facilitating elements, you are losing 90 watts. It is not going to be anyway good for our the PV power production or PV power plant operation. So this has to be certainly to be avoided by using an algorithm or something which can be implemented in between your load and your PV. Now let us check how to do it with respect to our algorithm. Yes, hill climbing or perturb and absorb algorithm. Now yes, it's very important. Please be careful and please be attentive, so that it will be helpful for you to understand. Now let me consider my IV characteristics and PV characteristics. PV characteristics is already there, so I will draw only my IV characteristics here. So what I'll do is actually I am initial. Yes, you know that MP in an MPPT you are going to this is your PV. Let me draw it in a simple way. This is your PV. This is your DC-DC converter. This is your load. So you know that load will considerably go for variations. Load in the sense what I try to mean is, for example, let you take a home load. In your home load, if you take, you have a fan, you have a fridge, you have a multiple appliances you have. All the time load will not be same. Sometimes you may need fan, so you'll switch on fan. Sometimes you may need your fridge, so you may switch on fridge. Sometimes you may need washing machine, so load is, or sometimes you the combination what do you call permutation and combination with these elements are completely uncertain. Based on the requirement you are going to change. Yes, if in the previous class you have studied that when the load changes, operating point of PV is going to get changed. So now it is going to be tough. How you are going to change? In between you are going to place a DC-DC converter. Just by changing the duty cycle of DC-DC converter, you are going to change the PV operating point. Now, yes, you have come to a conclusion that if you change duty cycle, you are going to change the operating point of PV. Now let us see how we are changing, how this operating point of PV is getting changed. Let me say, of course, your duty cycle is going to be varied from 0 to 0.9 or 1. Why it is only in this particular region, I will say. Why it is going to be 0 to 0.9. We'll deal this particular 0 to 0.9 when we go to DC-DC converters in specific. That will be discussed in the upcoming class. But as of now, you need to understand that duty cycle cannot be varied below 0 or above 0.9. So that is a point. Now, and one more thumb rule that you need to understand is, this is going to be your voltage. Your duty cycle in general, how you will plot your voltage 0 to max or VOC 0 to max. But in case of your duty cycle, your duty cycle will always vary in reverse direction. So this is a thumb rule number 2. So duty cycle will always vary from 0 in this order, 0 to maximum 0.9. So this is the second thumb rule that you have to remember. Now if it is 0, what will be the maximum operating point? If I am declaring my duty cycle as 0, it will operate to my VOC. This is first one. Let me take for the worst case, why to make it 0? I will take it as 0.1. So the minimum limit that I am going to operate my PV is going to be 0.1. This is my 0.1. Let this be my 0.1 duty cycle. At this 0.1 duty cycle, let this be my 0.1 duty cycle. What about my power? My power value is going to be very minimal. So you can see this power value is very minimal. I have drawn this. Let this be P1. Let this be P1. Now what I will do is, after 0.1 duty cycle, I am going to increment my duty cycle by 2%. This 2% in the sense you can include how many percentage you want. But for safer side, I am taking 2. What is 2%? 2% is 0.12. Now I will check. This is 0.12. Let this be 0.12. So when I see the power difference compared to 0.1, my power, the slope of power is getting increased. See, if 0.1 is there, I am increasing to 0.12. So my power value is getting increased. This point, my power value magnitude is getting increased. So what I will try to do is, I will keep on incrementing my duty cycle so that it reaches some point what you call it as MPP point. Please listen. I have the 0.1 duty cycle. For a next iteration, I am declaring my duty cycle at 0.1 duty cycle, and I am incrementing my duty so that 0.1 to duty. For 0.1 I will have one power. For 0.12 also I have some power. Now for the difference between the power, for 0.1 power and 0.12 power. So what is the power difference? Power difference may be some negligible, but what is the sign here? Power is incrementing. If power is incrementing from 0.1 to 0.2, which means you are going towards the right direction, which means you are trying to go in a forward direction, which means what? You have to go on increment your duty cycle. 0.14, 0.16, 0.18, like that you have to go on increment, and at some point of time it will reach your MPP. 0.14, for example, let this be 0.12, let the 0.12, 0.14, or let me say at 0.5 it reaches to MPP. Now here comes the deal. After reaching 0.5, what will happen is, from 0.5 what it will go, from let this be 0.5 duty cycle. This is the maximum power point. From 0.5 where it will go? It will go to 0.52. It will go to 0.52. Let this be 0.5. Let this be 0.52. Now after reaching 0.52, what it will happen? It will find that power is getting reduced. It will go to this point. This is your 0.52. It will come to this point. Now the power will get reduced. Now where it will go? Now it will come back to the same point. Now it will come back to the same point. Now what will happen? Now the power you find, it is finding from 0.52 to 0.5. Now the power is getting incremented. Now what it will happen? From 0.5 to 0.48 it will go. It will decrement. Why? Because it is from 0.52 to 0.5. If it decrements, it is finding that yes, now the slope sign is negative. For next cycle also, what it will go? At 1 second it will go to 0.48. Correct, right? So 0.48 it will go. It will find that the power is less. So what it will do? It will once again, it will from 0.5 to 0.48 it will go. So now it finds the slope sign is positive, which means that it is incremented it is decremented from 0.5 to 0.48. Now what it will do? Now the slope sign reverses. Now we have to increment the duty cycle from 0.48 to 0.5, 0.5 to 0.52, 0.52 to 0. So what will happen is, this P and O try to produce a triangle, what do you call, three-step variations in your PV, in your convergence characteristics, so that what it happens is it tends to oscillate. Steady state oscillations are produced at maximum power point. We can see it here: perturbation positive, change in power. These are all the simple rules or simple P and algorithm rules based on your duty cycle. When my perturbation, let this be positive, this 0.48, 0.12, 0.12 is perturbation. For each this thing is perturbation. This perturbation is positive. When my change in power is, yes, it is also positive. Next perturbation, yes, positive. This is the rule. Now let me take the second rule. My perturbation is positive, change in power is negative. For example, you can take this case. Perturbation from 0.5 to 0.52 is positive. Then, but change in power. But what is this point? MPP point, 0.5 to 0.52. Yeah, perturbation is positive, but what about power? Power is getting decremented. So power is negative. So what you have to do? Next perturbation, it has to go back to 0.5. So like this, you increment or decrement the duty cycle, and you find what is the power from your IV characteristics or your PV characteristics. This type of perturb and observing the power based on the slope or based on the positive and negative values is what you call it as perturb and observe algorithm. So this is what an MPP tracking can be made. This algorithm can be implemented in a DC-DC converter by just changing the duty cycle of a DC-DC converter. It is very much simple that you can go ahead. So this is again a flow chart. This is just a what is it? Replica of your explanation. Let me say initialization point 1. You take voltage and current of your PV panel and you estimate your power. Here. So next what you will do, at the next instant you will have 0.12, next instant you will have 0.12, there also you estimate the power. So what it will happen, you compare 0.1 and 0.2, where you get maximum power, dP by dV, where you get 0.12, if you find maximum power, yes, P of k minus 1 is greater than your P of k is nothing but iteration, 0.12 is P of k minus 1, so it is greater. So what you will do, you will increment the duty cycle, or what you will do, for if the power is less, what you will do, complement your slope sign. S means you increment, phi is nothing but your, I told no, 2% variation, 0.02, 0.12, this variation, 0.0, this variation. If it is not, what you have to do, 0.1 to 0.1 minus 0.0, so you will get 0.08. so this is how it goes. So this is the algorithm for your hill climbing or perturbance absorb. Perturbance absorb is nothing but duty cycle variation. Here instead of duty cycle you can also have what is that, voltage levels also. If you can also have voltage levels, that is also fine. With that voltage levels also you can go ahead with the perturbance observe. So this is the different method for tracking maximum power in a uniform irradiation case. So this is my uniform irradiation case. As I have already told you, I am drawing the IV characteristics and the PV characteristics on your PPT to make you understand. Now you have a problem. Maybe this problem I'll explain you when I say yes, you will now have a, means now you would have understand what is perturbance observe algorithm. Now I leave you one question. As I have already told you, the first thumb rule, the immediate thumb rule that you have to state is going to be your voltage starts from 0 to VOC. Yes, this is your VOC. The second thumb rule is going to be your duty cycle is always in your opposite position. Duty cycle is going to be 0 to 0.9. This is the second thumb rule in solar PV. So now you start this in the multiple peak case or shade case, you will definitely attain this power peak. When you start to go on incrementing, you will definitely attain this power peak. Let me say it as 0.1. This is naturally a global power peak, so there will not be any problem. Now let me take this particular case. Let me take this particular case as an example. Now, the same case I have taken. Maybe I will take a case something like this. Something like this case. In this case, what you will do, you are going to operate your PV only in this local power peak. Instead of what your interest is always to operate at PV at global power, you need to operate PV at global power, but you are operating at local power peak. This is a problem with perturbance observe algorithm. Let us see how to solve this in the upcoming classes. But meanwhile, I wanted you people or you students to think about how to mitigate this problem and how to overcome the problem with perturbance observe algorithm and how to ensure that your PV is always operating at MPP. Please go ahead with this problem definition what we have discussed in today's class, and this is what we are explaining. As I have told you, maximum power point tracking, load synthesis you cannot change, so you are inserting a DC-DC converter. This DC-DC dumb box we are going to incorporate power electronic interface. Just by varying my V and I, voltage and current, just by varying my duty cycle, I can change the operating points. You can change this 1, you can change this 2, 3 and 4. Of course your interest has to be always in 3. Why? Because 3 is always your MPP point. So this is the explanation for this. But though you cannot have a control over your load, but you can have a control over your duty cycle. Why? Because you are taking the input V and I values and you are calculating the power based on the present and previous power. You are trying to enter your or alter your duty cycle so that your PV is always operated in your maximum power point value. So this is how it goes. This is what P&O maximum power point tracking in your syllabus. Maybe we will discuss incremental conductance in the next class. But before that, I wanted all of you students to have a idea on what is this partial shade, how we are going to mitigate this partial shade in case of P&O algorithm or by means of some other algorithm. Let you take this as an assignment and please try to find an answer for it. So this is for today's class. So to my next class we will discuss something that is really interesting, what you call it as incremental conductance algorithm for maximum power point tracking. Thank you so much. We will see you in